On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, a massive second period for the Avs is what gets them past the Carolina Hurricanes. And it all started with the shorthanded slap shot heard around the world from Cale Makar. Let's talk about it. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan, sporting that Denver Broncos shirt. Keep the faith, brother. Thank you for tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Make sure you're following us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, X, Locked On Avalanche, and Instagram and Threads. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, LockedOnAvalanche@gmail.com. And follow us on our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. Make sure you're subscribed to our subtext as well. Link to that's in the show notes below. When you do chat with Kyle and I one-on-one, we get your opinion, everything Avalanche related, which we share on this very podcast. And hey, if you want to use it for a vessel of frustration over that Broncos game, go listen to Cody and Sarah Behringer over at Locked On Broncos. I'm sure they have a lot to say about that, but man, come on.
As an Auburn fan, I know what it's like to be on the other side of a successful field goal. So
it was right there for the taking. So if you're tuning into this to not hear about that stuff, we'll stop talking about it right now. If you want something good to listen to in your ears, and it's Avalanche hockey. All right, let's get on that track right now.
A Denver team that can stop an 8-game winning streak.
There you go. Let's talk about that. Let's jump into it. Yeah, the Avs with the win over the Carolina Hurricanes over the weekend, 6-4, and this is now 2 games in a row. Like you've had that feeling that that the Avs are getting their legs collectively for how just they play. And even though they lost that game in Winnipeg, you can go back and listen to that episode. Like, sure, we were upset about it. I hate losing games like that, but you felt good about a lot of things coming out of that game. Save for the first period, which was not their best. And I give way more of the credit to Carolina, who just came out like just gangbusters in that period, which was odd. I'll get to that in a second, why they did. I'm surprised that they did. But it was the second period where the Avs just completely settled in and just brought the house. 5 goals in the second, and it started, like I said in the opener, with the Cale Makar shorthanded slap shot. And I love that play because it was just he could have just kept the puck and try to make a power move in front of the goal, which you see Avalanche players do that a lot. And he just got close enough, and he was like, we're shorthanded, so why try to make a move that maybe if I do make that power move and then I get knocked to the ground or whatever. I don't think he's thinking all of this out. Maybe not. Maybe he is, because he's Cale Makar and he's all knowing. And that takes him out of the play, and back comes Carolina. There's so many scenarios that could have won it. He just did the simplest scenario, and it's I'm close enough. I'm just going to fire this thing. And it was like 93, 94 miles an hour. Those are like the slam dunks of the hockey world. And then from then on, we'll talk about it all, but it was just all Avalanche. You're muted.
I like that you equate Cale Makar to a Doctor Strange type scenario, that he's sitting there and he sees all the possible scenarios. But no, and when you listed back on Bednar's comments, not just on this game, but the Seattle game and the Winnipeg game, he's liking what he's seeing out of this team. A lot of that has to do with the return of Terry McKinnon, but he even mentioned in that first period, the Avs did not start good. Stop me if you've heard that one before. Right. And it was basically a hold on and survive type scenario. And Cale Makar just taking and he doesn't really do this that often. You haven't seen it that much this year, but for him to rifle that shot in, you could feel the energy in that moment. Like the Avs, they felt good surviving that first period. And that second period was absolutely electric. It was like every time they turned around, you could even get the goal announcement out over the intercom in Ball Arena, and another goal was scored. Mm-hmm. This is the kind of production that the Avalanche need. Like we've been talking about this in the Winnipeg game and the Seattle game. The Avs are starting to find an identity, and they're becoming relentless in their approach. And this is a very welcome sight to see.
What was welcome was they got right back in the game. Like you said, it was like a minute and a half between Makar's slap shot and then the Malinsky goal. And that goal was just as pretty in a different way. And that was Nathan MacKinnon coming up the right-hand side, didn't really have an angle. So he intentionally, he pass shots the puck off the goalie's pads to Malinsky, and good on Malinsky. Go watch that play again, because he didn't just get the rebound and just fire it in. He collects it, and he had the awareness to know he's got enough time to go backhand on this. And if I can go backhand, he's got zero shot because he's already committed. He's already kind of in a state of flux because he's responding off a rebound. And then if he doesn't poke check or anything like that, and I can get a backhand on him and he roofs, that's exactly what he did. It was such a smart, heady play by Malinsky not to just grab the rebound and one time it. Although that would have been probably what 99% of people would have done, including him another time. But he just had that awareness that I know who's around me. I don't feel anybody right up my back. I can go backhand. And Sam Malinsky is quietly having a phenomenal season right now for the Avalanche. And I don't want to get too much ahead of myself right now, but if he keeps doing this, we've got a long way to go. But if he keeps doing that, there are some questions in the offseason that we might have answers to, and they involve Sam Malinsky in bumping him up in the roster and stuff like that. But that's for a later comment. But you can talk about how he's playing right now, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah, and that 1-2 punch that you got right there with Cale Makar, Sam Malinsky, only to be followed up on the second, the back end of that second period when Nathan MacKinnon, Arturi Lehkonen, and then Mikko Rantanen putting the total bookmark on that second period. Like, the entire team is playing at a level of confidence, and I think that has something to do, and we talked about it, like this Winnipeg loss, there's a lot to take away from it, and I think confidence. Like going toe-to-toe with the best team in the NHL, and you walk away with that one shot, one goal. I feel like this team is starting to believe in what Bednar has been preaching all year. Like, stick to what we're doing. It's going to pay off. And that second period is evidence of, you guys got this. You survived that really rough first period. That's your worst. And if you guys actually just start engaging and puck luck goes a little bit your way, you'll have periods like this. And when you see your big names scoring in the second period in quick succession, like Nathan MacKinnon and Arturi Lehkonen was about a minute apart on those goals. When you see that happening, you're taking all momentum out of the game and eliminating the chance that Carolina could come back and make any kind of damage.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the Avalanche. Just I think they always buy into what Jared Bednar is selling. I think it's just it takes them time to really just start playing that way consistently. And right now, so over the course of how this season has gone so far, it's how he wants them to play over the course of a game. And now the focus is on like the starts, right? Because you're getting that play. They always buy into. I mean, he's been around for a while for a reason. So it's getting like the new guys on the same page. It's getting just the new season rust off, and you're getting there. And maybe it's we're used to this in Avalanche world that it does take a while for the Avs to really start hitting their stride. Is that right now? We'll see. I mean, I think the last couple of games are promising, but we'll see as this month goes on. Because, like we've said in our previewing the November schedule, like it's a daunting month. If by the end of the month, and I said that during that episode, I want to see. I'm not so concerned about the standing. I'm concerned about how they're playing. If they're playing like this at the end of the month, yeah, then the Avalanche they're rolling, and this is how they want to play, and they got their legs back. However you want to phrase it, if they can continue this throughout the month, they're fine. Because don't forget, they're getting guys back throughout this month too, hopefully.
And see, and to the Bednar thing, like if you take a snapshot of the first 3 games of this season and do the last 3 games the Avalanche just played, like we have talked so many times about this team being aloof and just all out there and everybody puck chasing, everybody trying to figure it out in their own way. And you see, because you see the team, like even how they play in front of Georgie, like you see the emotions just come come to a head in those early games. And Bednar is pointing out where things need to be addressed. And this team, they keep trying to push, and you don't see the results. And of course, you get the emotional response visibly in body language. But you're seeing it all come together now, and they're starting to buy in to what these little details are. And now we've whittled down the goalie position, the defense, the forwards not producing. You're whittling it all down to, okay, if we can eliminate these starts and get a full 60 minutes, guys, your job will be so much easier. And this is why, right here. 20 minutes in that second period changed the outlook of the game. If you do this in the beginning, you're not going to have to try so hard in the second and the third, and then your shifts go down, and we can evenly distribute minutes along this team.
Yeah, it was good to see them. After that first period, Carolina was just doing everything right, and that's how they play. Like they are hard on the puck. They throw a lot of pucks on net. They might make life miserable for you on a forecheck. Like that is a hard working team. And I was like, well, this is going one of two ways. This is either going to be how it's going to be for this game. It's going to be very tough to get some pucks in the net. Or Carolina flew in that day because of the snowstorm in Colorado. They didn't get there the night before the game. They got there that afternoon. Sometimes it's a good thing for teams. I think when it's in Denver, that's a bad thing for teams. And I was like, that has to catch up to them.
Yeah.
That's got to catch up to them. I don't know if that's what, was the downfall in the second period and beyond. Because maybe they were just running on an endorphin high for that first period, and you don't really have time to think. You land, you get your gear, go to the hotel, get to the rink. Like you don't have time to think about it. And then maybe during that first period intermission, maybe just something changed for them. Did it have anything to do with that? I can't say. Maybe a little bit. Maybe it was a piece. Maybe it wasn't everything, but maybe it was something. I'm sure it was adjustments for the Avalanche. That's a piece of the puzzle too. But whatever it was just night and day from that first period, because that's a tough team to play against when they're playing like that in Carolina. And the Avs figured them out, and then to the tune of 5 goals in a second period. Man, that's a lot of work there. That's very, very well done by them in the second period. They played great.
You have a valid point. I mean, I'll be 36 in 2 months, and daylight savings times has me day to day all week. So, I mean, you might have a point there.
You never know. So, all right, let's get our first break in. When we come back, got some things to talk about with Mr. Nathan MacKinnon. So let's do that after this. All right, let's hear from Prize Picks. Is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to everyone. All you do is pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash, where you can run your game all season long with Prize Picks. It's the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, so your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. And if your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks keeps your lineup alive. So sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5, and you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinion into real money all season long on Prize Picks. So download the app today, use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That code is LOCKEDONNHL, and it's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Go get that right now over at the Prize Picks app. Run your game. Also brought to you by Game Time, the Game Time ticket app. It's got a brand new feature. They call it Game Time Picks. That makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. What does Game Time Picks do? It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Not only do they have that new feature, but they also have curated deals that make it easier to find the best price on great seats. They have super deals The views from your seats before you buy, the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation, and job loss protection. And here's the thing that we love, Kyle. Game Time. It's having an exclusive zone deal for the NHL Winter Classic at Wrigley Field. So go to the Game Time app and purchase tickets. You'll get 10% off bleacher seating and 20 to 25% off on the home plate area seats. How can you want to pass that up? I have no idea.
You don't. You want to get on it now.
That is the answer. You don't pass it up. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms do apply. So again, create the account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it, Mr. Sullivan?
It's game time.
Yes, it is. All right, let's get to I just want to bring up the stats really quick for everybody because it was a scoring party here for the Avs. You had Nathan McKinnon with a 4-point night, the 1 goal and 3 more assists for him. Casey Middlestat had an assist. Valeri Nichushkin, welcome back, man. He's picking up right where he left off. 1 goal, 1 assist for him. Mikko Rantanen with a 3-point night. So that's 9 points right there for your top line. Two goals and an assist for Mikko. Crazy.
Yeah.
They're just on a roll. Ludwig with an assist. Devon Toews with an assist. Makar with the slap shot goal. Sammy G with an assist. And Sam Malinsky with a goal. Josh Manson, the lone man out there, the only defender without a point. Trade him. Get rid of him.
Conversation for another day.
I want to get back to not Cale Makar. We always talk about Cale Makar. Nathan McKinnon, because he's already, I mean, I want to say he's picking up where he left off last season. I feel like right now he's exceeding where he was this time last year. I mean, he had a fine season opener, but he really started picking it up in like late November, and then he kind of just couldn't be stopped from there. He's doing that at the onset of this year. And last year, like I feel, and I said this a lot, I kind of felt like he was going to win the Hart for a couple of reasons. One, he was deserving of it. He had an absolutely incredible season. And 2, I felt like the writers were going to right a wrong in the fact that he had not had one by then. And I do I think that played a role? I genuinely do. I don't think it was the complete picture and the end all be all for it. But was that in the heads of some writers? Like, this guy, he's had an amazing season. Now is the year to give it to him. Maybe it played a role. But what he's doing this year is making the writers pick him again when they probably don't want to, and admit that this guy is the best hockey player in this league, bar none. Hands down, end of statement, shut up, move on. It's in my opinion, it's not a question. And you can put Connor McDavid in there. And I am not taking away from what Connor McDavid can do. Please, let's not start that conversation. Connor McDavid, when it's all said and done, will be one of the top players this league has ever seen. Right now, today, Nathan McKinnon is the best player in the league, full stop.
You want me to make it a little bit scarier for you?
Sure.
Last year, Nathan McKinnon was trying to figure out the power struggles, the egos, and the synergy with Ryan Johansson, a brand new Miles Wood, a brand new Ross Colton. Trying to figure that out, still led his way to a Hart Trophy. We said in the offseason, what is Nathan McKinnon going to do as the returning Hart Trophy winner with a target on his back? Is that weight too heavy? Nope. Nathan McKinnon has kicked it into yet another gear. We're on gear 10 or 11 at this point. He is quietly having 4 or 5 multiple point nights, and it's not loud. He's doing a lot of assist. He's doing a lot of
assists. Loud. It's been loud recently. Yeah.
He's doing a lot more like the assists, but he's doing that, getting mad, taking the puck and going wherever he needs to go and getting the goal. It's that taking over the game. He's clicked it up another notch. And Nathan MacKinnon it's again not labored. He's not pushing. Like when he had that streak last year, you had that pressure of, oh, does he get it? Does he get it? And he gets it. This year, he's taking it over, doing what he has to do, and facilitating. He is absolutely this is the deadliest, most precise Nathan MacKinnon I have ever seen.
I mean, there's very few guys, and McDavid is one of these guys. But when McKinnon is out there and he gets the puck, your ears perk up, and you're like, well, okay, like you genuinely feel like things can happen. Like there could be a goal here, either from him or assisted by him, every single time he touches the puck, and that's that's not going too far out of bounds to say that, because he's that good, he is that dialed in, he is that feared by defenders. And you're right, it is coming so easy to him, right? It seems like the game is moving so slow for a guy who moves so fast. And he just knows exactly where he's got to be. He knows exactly where his teammates are going to be. And you can see it in the production. He's otherworldly right now. And I hate this conversation where we always just put, again, I'm going to go there. We always just put Connor McDavid at the top just because. Stop doing that. Stop it. It's Nathan MacKinnon's world right now. And he is better than anybody in this league. And he's better than anybody on this planet today. Right now. And like I said, it's like I think the writers felt like, oh, we'll give him his heart and we'll move on. We'll start getting back to McDavid. No, he's gonna force them to pick him again if he keeps doing this. What's he on a pace for? I think he was on a pace for like 160 points or something like that. Is that going to happen? I wouldn't think not, but he might not be that. You might see another 140 in him. You might see that, and that would not surprise me.
And seeing Nathan MacKinnon up to this point, he's always been it's when you watch a game, when you watch the full 60 minutes, Nathan MacKinnon takes advantage of a moment and capitalizes. Nathan MacKinnon's escalated his game where he is the moment and he takes over. He is the game changer. As soon as he touches the puck, he is the moment. He doesn't have to wait for things to set up. He sets it up just by taking the puck, shifting momentum in one play. In about 20 seconds, he gets mad enough with how things are going. He takes it over. He corrects it. He doesn't have to wait for things to line up. And then his synergy with the team now is so dangerous. And like you said, more players are coming back to this team. It's only going to get worse from here.
And I love what you said there. And I think his teammates know that. I think his teammates say, okay, Nate's out here. Let's not just go through the motions on this shift. Like, okay, he's got a head full of steam. We got to join the rush here because he's going to expect us to be in certain spot. Like, it's all inclusive for him and his teammates. It's not just, oh, let's just get out there and let's just do our 30, 40 seconds and we're off. No, it's he's out here and here he comes and, a defender has found him. I better get going because he's going to make things happen. And if I don't, Jared Bednar is the last person I have to worry about. No. I'm not going to be playing online with Nathan MacKinnon much longer if I don't. So you see it. You see everybody they're all tuned in right now. And MacKinnon he's that guy. He makes everybody better. So good. So good. All right. Let's get in one more break. When we come back, Valeri Nichushkin should be ready to go for Friday. So we'll talk about that. And our subtext people give predictions for this game against the Predators. So let's talk about that next. We're going to hear from FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, which is America's #1 sports book. And right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get that hunch in the middle of the game, like the Broncos are going to win this thing on a field goal, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. So just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That is FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Unless that moment is the Denver Broncos field goal team. All right, so we've had November 15th circled for 6 months. And that is Friday, sir. And all signs are pointing to Valeri Nichushkin returning. So all we have talked about him for, since the suspension, the entire offseason, start of this season, like I said, circling this date, it's almost finally here. What do you I mean, who's the game against? I didn't even check that. It is against Washington. So it's a home game against the Capitals. You're muted. I can't hear you. It's against the Capitals. So I wonder if the fan base is like, which side are they on? Are they on like yours, where you've turned? You've kind of turned, but you've turned because they needed him. Or do you feel like, no, there's just a lot of people that are just going to welcome him back? You heard all the comments from the team, some of the players, Chris McFarland. And do you think the fans will be like, okay, well, if they're going to welcome him back, maybe I should too? Or I'm sure you're going to have those fans that are like, dude, you screwed us over the last 2 postseasons. I got no love for you. I'm sure there's going to be a percentage of those people, but I'm willing to bet the majority of the fan base will give him a warm reception when he comes back.
Okay. This is where I am. In the off season, it was perfectly fine to have our comments and observations and just where we stood on the nuke situation.
Mm-hmm.
Turn around, look around you. We're in the middle of the season. We have work to do. And he's coming back. He's done what he has to do. And he's checked all his boxes. He's back as a member of the Colorado Avalanche. We welcome him with open arms. Everything off the ice we worry about at a later time, or unless something else happens. But last year, 28 goals, 23 assists, even with some time off that he took to take care of these off-ice issues.
Yeah.
That's almost 60 points.
He was hurt too. Wasn't he hurt to start the season last year?
So please,
I'm wrong on that, but
tell me how a returning almost 60-point player is a bad thing for this Colorado Avalanche team, because honestly, at this point, all I care about is what is going on the 200-foot sheet of ice in the middle of the game, because we need all the help we can get. If something happens off ice, it'll be handled. But if somebody's coming back that could give us almost 60 points, you would be a fool to say no.
Yeah, and it's not only the end result of the stat sheet; it's what he does on the ice, and that net front presence, that big body. That's what you need. That's what the Avs need. And as far as like if he's welcome back or not, kind of the reason I feel like that he will be. Excuse me. I think fans are like they generally want to be forgiving for guys that are playing on their team. This is a different animal with what he's done over the last 2 years. And we've said this before too. He could have a fine season, have another season like the stats that you just gave up. The day that round 1, game 1 starts, all eyes are going to be on him for the duration of those however long the Avs are in the playoffs. And that's fair game. And this is a different storyline, but just look at what Georgiev has done over the last 2 games. Over the last 2 games, fans are like, okay, maybe he has turned the corner. Maybe we can accept him. Where 2 weeks ago it was like, get this guy out of here. So it's what you do on the ice that can turn the thinking of the fan base. I think he'll be fine on the ice for the regular season, but those stories are going to creep up come the postseason. And that's fair. He's got a lot to prove, and he'll prove it to the fan base, and he needs to prove it to the team, his teammates, and the franchise. And I think he'll do that for the regular season. But where it really is going to kick into high gear, and he's going to be hearing a lot of stuff, and I hope he can tune it out because it's going to be loud, is when the playoffs start. So that's where we're at.
And he needs to be back with this team. The team understands his situation, and he understands he let the team down. He needs to be back in that locker room, understanding that he needs to make amends for this. And that's where it needs to be handled. Because guess what? Val owes nothing to any of us. Like, this is between him and the off-ice stuff and his team. We're fans. We get to enjoy the wins, but we have nothing to say about his off-ice losses. So let him handle it. He's back with his brothers. and I'm ready for him to return on Friday.
That's well said. So we got a couple games before that, before he comes back, and the one on Monday is against the Preds. So here it is, just one of the very few division games you have for this month. The last game they played against them, they lost. The Preds are still struggling. It's not like they've turned the corner. And I really wonder if that Cale Makar goal, that slap shot goal, there's always moments in a season that like turn things around. And I wonder if at the end of the year, you're like, hey, that Cale Makar shorthanded slap shot is, you can kind of put a pin in that as to where, the Avs just started like knocking out some points here. Because I feel like they're playing well, but they're not getting the points to show for it. But maybe that was the turning point to start getting, wins and start ascending up this division. So
I think that Winnipeg game was almost like Rocky 1, where Rocky lost.
Oh, great. Great analogy, dude. Yes.
And this is the acclamation to Rocky 2, where the Avalanche are right now.
Oh, love it. Absolutely love it. What do the people on subtext think? Cody says 4-3 or 5-4 overtime win for the Avs. And I think Cody's the one that just threw out the score last time and said it was overtime. Someone's going to win by that score. So I think I like Cody that you put the Avs in there for the win on whoever it is. But give me who's going to win it. If it's overtime, here's a new rule for our subtext people. If you're predicting overtime, you have to put in who's getting the overtime winner.
Yep. If you're going to put me through that extra level of anxiety, give me why.
I need it. And then you got to get even more of the credit if you're right there. Mm-hmm. So come on. Katie, I just watched Nashville crush my other team, which I think she's a Utah fan, if I'm not. Is that who they're playing right now? If you want to look that up. So let's see. I'm going to say that the Avs squeak out a close one, maybe 3-4. Is that who they're playing?
Yeah, it was 4-0 over Utah.
I thought she was a Utah fan. Yeah. So Dan says, Avs build off the momentum of playing 2 games against the best in the NHL, get redemption against the Preds at home, and they win 5-3. I like that. Vargar, 7-4 Avs, 4 points for Makar, a .862 Avs save percentage, but he doesn't say who's getting that save percentage.
I'm aligning with Vargar because I have a very strong feeling it's going to end up that way.
High score.
This Avs team is mad, and they are on a redemption tour.
All right. I would not be against that. So Brandon 3-2 win. Depends on who is in net. I would be fine if it's Annunen. If I wasn't at work during the game, I would be drinking if it's Georgiev.
Honestly, at this point, I think the 2 goalies are interchangeable with their current play.
Well, I mean, you've got 2 good games from Georgiev, and let's
a cold Eustace,
right? So I would hope Eustace is in there if they want to keep him fresh, and have this this duo through the course of the season. You gotta play them back and forth. You cannot overload one guy. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. But if it is Georgie, like, hey, you got 2 good games, but you have a backlog of not so good to start the season. So let's continue that, but we'll see where it goes. And then Adam says revenge tomorrow, 4-3 overtime. Here you go. Adam knows how to do it. McKinnon, game-winning goal.
Widen that gap. I'm not feeling close. I'm feeling this one is going to be just a thumping, and I feel like the Avs it's going to be one of those 5-1, like 4-1 Avalanche games that it's never in question.
I think the fact that they reeled off 5 against Carolina, against not like their best goalie, I get that, but the Avs were struggling to find some points or find some goals. But I think they feel like, you got to feel good after you do that. You put up 6 goals in total. You want to continue that. So maybe you are right. Maybe this is a high scoring game for the Avs. We'll wait and see. And however it goes, we'll talk about it on tomorrow's episode. Make sure you turn into that one. For this one, it's going to wrap it up. So thank you for tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan in the Denver Broncos t-shirt. I am Chris Maselli, and this is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And hey, you just made it through another 24 hours where Sidney Crosby is that much closer to wearing Colorado Avalanche colors.
Can he kick field goals?
Well, you block him.